Okay, so while I attempt to get a good connection going to YouTube and get my green screen, which is a new feature, a returning feature to our stream, and while I try to get our backgrounds looking good and things sounding all right, if you guys type in the live chat, I'll do a rock giveaway to get everybody started with rock, since it's been a minute since we've streamed. So let's go ahead and work on that. And let's see, what are we doing tonight? Let me let you know. One thing before we get into stuff, I want to talk to you. I want to know what you think about some of the things that are going on out there. I'm going to need my live chat for this. Let me go ahead and grab it. Let me refresh this because I want my chat on both screens. And let's go to live chat instead of top chat and put that bad boy right there so I can see it. All right. That's how I like it. Let's see. I don't see Streamlabs. That's okay. I'm working on getting Streamlabs connected. And I will warn everybody. Now, Streamlabs should be connected now. Oh, now. Yeah, okay. So hopefully we'll see Streamlabs. I probably won't chat much, guys. My brain is a puddle from homework. That's okay, TJ. Just glad to see you. Because there's a lot going on. And of course, what I want to call to for tonight's stream is neutrality, being unbiased. Just looking at things based on the evidence that's there. Because we've seen a full meltdown from Boomerville. And I mean, it rivals some of their greatest meltdowns ever in the past. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see develop. The further meltdown from Boomerville due to their inability to cope with the evidence that's come out. Also, YouTube's been quiet to some extent, where some different topics, some communities don't have a lot to talk about, other than that last filing from Saltsy, which I uploaded about around the Toddy KJP lawsuit, a lawsuit that is, it's very possible it could change the way that commentary, response, criticism all works on YouTube due to a precedent it could set. So it's just going to be crazy to think about all that. Also, I got to get the lighting and the lighting in this stream together because the lighting is horrible. As you can tell, I have to hook up different lights to get the green screen looking good. Now I've got my green screen looking good, but for some reason my lips are very pink. I don't understand it. I don't know. The lighting's not too bad. We're working with low light. So for those of you that wonder why the lighting looks wonky, it's because I'm trying to do low light here and see if I can get it working. Navy might be coming in to hang out with us later. If I get disconnected tonight, I'm just telling you, I'm probably going to stay offline. I need to share the stream. And it's going to be one of those times where it takes me a minute to get started because I didn't schedule this well ahead of time. I didn't let anybody really know I'm streaming even. For anybody in Discord, moderators, administrators, if you have anything that you want to add in, make sure, like, I see what you're saying, my friend. I've got your message, Stuart. So if you do need to show me something or get my attention, I will be in the general room. I will not be in current live stream because tonight's stream is more random. I don't want to pollute the current live stream room with tonight's stream. So if you want to communicate with me through Discord, tag me in Discord, and you can always use our secret methods in the live chat there, because honestly, I haven't tagged this stream properly. I haven't titled it properly. Honestly, this is more of a test stream. This is one of those chill test streams where I'm going to try to get things looking a little better with my green screen hooked up. Do you like this background? Because we can change backgrounds, of course. You guys know I typically will change backgrounds. We've got several pretty good backgrounds. I like this one. I like this one. I don't know if you guys like that background. I really like it. I really like what it does. So, yeah, there's just several things that we could talk about, but I don't want to start even talking until we've got things together for the stream. So it's going to take a few minutes. It's going to take a few minutes. Are we going to play video games? Maybe later. And we might stream for a little bit. First things first, I just want to hang out and talk to my live chat because it's been a minute since I have. Let's see here. Oh, I was going to play Jill a birthday song, but I don't want to. And I'll tell you why. Because I sung happy birthday to Jill with my cat. And my cat literally sang right along with me. It was pretty crazy. I was kind of surprised that my cat, you know, sang along as good as my cat did. So I don't want to try to replace that that birthday song with the new song, because that was just too epic. That was freaking epic. You look great, Uni. What are you doing later? I'm probably gonna go to sleep and get up and do things and stuff. Yeah. And I'm gonna be streaming this weekend. I feel like streaming this weekend. Something we haven't done in a while. I finally have a motivation to get back into live streaming a little bit. Gus is amazing at singing. I agree, BGF. I agree. That was a excellent performance by that little monster. That little monster just knocked it out of the park. What do you guys think? Do you like the background for the front screen? Because if you think it's too green, we can always go more blue. We can always go more blue. And you can take the clouds away. We could go even to like a nice red. I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with the blue and the green. Yeah, I think I'm going to stay right there. Anyway, though, for those of you that want to know, yes, there is so much that's gone on that even I can hardly represent all of it to you tonight on a stream. So I'm just going to pick some. Hey, Leroy, you didn't have to do that. Thanks, dude. You like the blue? Okay. Okay. I'll make sure to get it more blue then. Okay. Okay. I like this because it looks like we're in a skyscraper around other skyscrapers. And that's point number one. Point number two, it meets the 8-bit theme, the 8-bit style that I love. I love 8-bit graphics. I love ASCII art. If you don't know what ASCII art is, it's graphics made out of keyboard characters is the best way to describe it. I love it. So, we are living in a post-Boomertown world. Boomertown has been nuked. There is a nuclear bomb dropped on Boomertown. Boomertown no longer exists. The only thing left from Boomertown is some of the people living in the sewers and trying to scream for attention anytime they can. My money can? Oh, that's a good point. Where is my jar? I usually don't have the jar over here, do I? Let's see. Yeah, I don't usually have the jar here. The jar is typically in the other room. Let's see. Let me see if I got the jar here. Well, I don't even see it. It looks like we're gonna have to re-add the thing. We can do that later. Yep. Hey. Sorry. It sucks. I think I want to move Discord down. I want my hand to be able to go behind it. So yeah, for one more time, for anybody that just got here. Tonight's stream... Oh, what's this button do? Oh! I forgot about that! I love that background! Oh my god, I love it! We'll have to remember that we have that one. Okay. First, wait. I gotta do one other thing really quick. Hold on. I want to see what it looks like when we mess with the background here. Oh, damn, bro. The skyscrapers are way more visible than I thought they were. Let's try to get the lighting and everything looking good over here. All right, much better. Much better. I could turn off the lights. Oh, I gotta show you something, too. Before we even get started, I gotta show you one other thing. So I was thinking about doing this when I start my stream. Let me know what you think about this. Hold up, here it comes. Okay, so when I start my stream, I was thinking about having it do this. And me just be a shadow until the music starts, right? It starts to pick up. you think? Pretty neat. Do you like it? I like it. Okay, it's pretty crazy, Kitty. It really is. Okay. We've got at least several peeps here. So I've got to do a musical interlude while I share the stream, while I let the peeps know we're live, while I get everything adjusted. Let's go ahead and do that, and I will pretend to do some semblance of a real stream. Can we get into talks about adding me to your payroll? I need all your Mad Vape funds. Sure, we sure can, Hi Guy. We'll add it to the list of things to do. So let's just go ahead and at least start a conversation. I want to have a conversation with you in the chat. They call me Vaping Vader. They call me Vaping Vader. That's awesome. Awesome. So here's what we've got going on. Let's see here. Let's just go ahead and bring up rockAlot really quick, and I'll describe it to you from there. Okay, so here's rockAlot. So in the stream Grand Larpsiny and in the stream Moap, right here, Moap, we disclosed to you hard evidence that a group of people on YouTube were running fundraisers but keeping the money and not being honest about what they were doing with the money. I showed you hard evidence. I showed you court records that showed that they didn't pay their landlord like they said they were going to do with the 10 months of future rent that they were going to pay so they could move out of the place. None of it made sense. That's why I criticized it a year ago. Grand Larpsiny Part 2 and then Part 3 go a little bit further to elaborate on this issue. And one thing that the community, and I'll talk about the greater community, we'll say any logical person, one thing that any normal person who isn't inundated in a cult like their defenders are, which is just a few defenders, there's not really that many, but they all agree that there are two clear sides to this story. One side, you have my criticism, which is the basic clips on their own merit deserve criticism due to how ridiculous the story was for what they needed the money for. Also, if you add in the other evidence, it's hard proof by their own standard that they kept the fundraiser money. There is a clip that I played in Grand Larpsiny where they state that if they don't pay the fundraiser, then they're going to have an eviction on their record. Also, to take it a step further, they ran another fundraiser recently that had to do with the person passing away from the debunking community, and we stated that they should account to the same standard that they chose not to account to the standard that they stated they would in the beginning when they took the money. And because when you have people who will keep fundraiser money and not do what they say they're going to do with the fundraiser money, when you have somebody who's kept money in the past and you ask this question, which is, why would they not account in this future fundraiser, the last one, when they promised to, when they could have clicked a button and used GoFundMe and been guaranteed to have a full accounting of what came in and that every dime went to the family? When you have that option and instead choose to put that money from the GoFundMe into your own bank account, and when in the past they've ran fundraisers and kept extremely large amounts of money, stealing it from their donators, is it not logical to then say that the reason they won't account for this current fundraiser and the reason that they put it into their own bank accounts most likely is because they're going to do the same thing now that they did back then? Though, in the very least, all of these points are valid criticism that should be acknowledged. It's not troll criticism. It's not lying, right? It's not making something up against them. It's not harping on them. This is all new information since the eviction came out into the public knowledge. Therefore, if anyone was going to defend against the information, they shouldn't make it about some fake-ass high school-like YouTube fight They shouldn't make it about all these things that it's not about. They shouldn't straw man, which is building a straw man, building your own argument that is not the argument that your opponent is bringing to you, and arguing against your straw man argument instead of addressing the actual argument that's being presented. You shouldn't do that when we're, what was that? When we're dealing with something this serious, because it's disrespectful to the topic in general. And it basically is showing that the people criticizing the issue are more respectful to the issue itself, the family, the people involved, the tragedy. The people criticizing are leagues more respectful than the people defending the people who are doing this, because the people defending them are just trolling and lying. We haven't really addressed it on YouTube yet, but they've been vet bashing me for hours on streams. And when finally people started to question them, because even their own audience was telling them while they were vet bashing, they weren't going to participate in vet bashing. What was the excuse from the individual that was vet bashing? Well, they said they were not vet bashing. They were just asking questions about whether I was in the military. Well, the definition of vet bashing is questioning somebody's service without having any evidence to do so. And they didn't have any evidence, and they vet bashed. So why take these extreme steps when, since the very beginning of my criticism on the topic, all they had to do was just account. All they had to do was account. All they got to do is make sure that it's proven what they took in, and it's proven that every dime of that money they took in was given to the family and wasn't misappropriated or kept. You'll say, that's an impossible task. Well, it's not. They had the ability to use GoFundMe to take all the money. Why did they only use GoFundMe to take a portion of the money? Then, when they cash out GoFundMe, why did they put the GoFundMe into their own bank accounts, which just creates additional transfers that are extra, that do not need to happen, that are literally against GoFundMe's terms of service, as I've shown you, instead of just putting the family as the beneficiary? These questions, all of these things have been the backbone for some criticism, but all that criticism, though, is more I would call it the concern of the community, because my specific criticism seems to be what they're interested in. They seem to be more concerned with me and more concerned with my criticism or my streams than they are anything else. And I think we know why. We definitely know why that is the case. It's because if they create the big bad boogeyman UNIRock, and it's just UNIRock starting problems, trying to destroy their community. In fact, was a quote from Red's Rhetoric himself. Uni's just trying to destroy our community. At least he admits that this information being known by his community would destroy his community. At least he admits and acknowledges that, because we haven't even uploaded on this yet. We've just done a couple live streams talking about the issue. So why am I bringing it up now? Well, I need to test my green screen. I need to test my live stream. I got to warm up the stream machine. And I figure there's no better chance to do it than now. And why not, if nothing else is going on, I don't pull up my live chat and hear what you guys have to say. Not just about the fundraisers, because that's just one topic. That's one issue altogether. The fact that their community has not criticized them yet for doing this is even more extreme, because it shows that they are culpable in this. And look, a lot of them are staying quiet. It's perfectly fine to stay quiet as long as you were not out attacking criticizers before the proof came out. As long as you weren't really loud before things went quiet, then it's not hypocritical to stay quiet. And if you were quiet the whole time, I suppose we could just assume you haven't said anything yet. When it comes to people that have been extremely loud in defending these guys, trolling along with them, attacking people that criticize, it's just normal then to say that why would they go quiet just because hard evidence came out that proved me right? And isn't it a big point that not only the creators that have done this have been dead quiet since the proof came out that proved us right all along, though, why hasn't their community stood up to say something. You would expect that if they want to be respected for having some type of criticism or being criticizers, which is the backbone of what they do, wouldn't you expect them to be able to admit when they're wrong, or at least acknowledge evidence and then provide some type of counter or some type of statement to why they don't think it's that evidence matters? And if they are going to address it, wouldn't you expect them not to straw man, right? I'm not the manager. I'm his manager's manager. How you doing? It's been a while. Hello, manager's manager. Good to see you. I've been doing okay. It has been a while. How have you been managing the manager of the lobster roll extraordinaire? You got to let me know. I'm a respectful individual. I want to know how you're doing too. It doesn't just go one way. It goes both ways. Thank you, though, for the support. I appreciate it. 1132. Next time, make sure you donate 9.999 going on into infinity. That was a joke. It was a joke. Do you get it? Do you get it? Okay. With low light conditions, you have to be careful not to have a big contrast between the face and the background. Very true. Thank you. You need a tiny bit of backlight to separate you from the backdrop. I can handle that. This is just a generally dark backdrop, but we will work on that as we get going. Thank you for the suggestion very much, Misha. I appreciate that. Now, if I wanted to, I could go on letting you know the cringe insanity that's come to pass. In fact, I have to talk with the Royal Mounted Canadian Police, and there's so much stuff I have to do just because of some of the things that have gone on lately. Why in the world would any of this be happening if we're dealing with a community that prides themselves on critical thinking and debate and discussion and respecting other people's opinions? All opinions are sacred. It's the motto of the NSS cringe lord. I don't know. I thought I'd use something different, but I'll wait. I'll build up to it. The name of the sinking ship that's in front of us now, what do you think about their community being silent? What do you think about the two purple traders going dead quiet when the proof came out? Also, what do you think now that a prominent flat earther just ran off with his own fundraiser money? Haven't even told you this yet. Nathan Thompson, someone who I've criticized and laughed at many times in the past. He was a returning feature of my nightly live stream back when I used to run it on UNIRocktv every night. Nathan Thompson, his claim to fame is running the biggest flatty Facebook group, right? Just yesterday night, or maybe the night before, but it might have been yesterday night, Nathan Thompson did a fundraiser so that he could travel across the country in a RV with two of his proteges. Well, it turns out they got into an argument, and Nathan Thompson took the PayPal and all that money in it that was fundraising their trip and their endeavor, and he ran off with it and kept that money. And flatty debunkers have stated, close enough to yes, exactly. I do, Hood. I do. And it's good to have you. It's good to have you. Glad you're here. And Nathan Thompson has been criticized by flatty debunkers today for running off with fundraiser money. In the most insane karmatic swing, now we have a flat earther funding something through PayPal, just like these guys did when they kept the $8,000 from the fundraiser a year ago and ran off with it. Now, all of the people out there that hang out and defend Red's rhetoric and Hufflepeg, we now know that they are faced with an incredibly hard decision. If they talk about Nathan Thompson, they are going to show their hypocrisy. You can't sit here and say, I'm now going to show you Nathan Thompson running off with fundraiser money when he most likely made a few $1,000s. When the biggest story, of course, that they're ignoring is their best friend and one of their community members, Red's Rhetoric, running off with fundraiser money a year ago. You know how that just won't work. So the problem is that this situation is like a golden egg for them. It's the goose that laid the golden egg, a really flat one, because on FTFE, where Reds hangs out with on that channel. This is the premier situation for them to be talking about and live streaming on. So do you think we're going to see Fight and Reds go live and make fun of Nathan Thompson for stealing fundraiser money and running off with it just after they all went quiet and have been avoiding the topic as much as possible of Reds and Sean stealing the money from that fundraiser a year ago? Now that only 1 week ago today, the information dropped that proved that they didn't pay 10 months of rent so they could move out of a house just like they've been claiming for a year. How in the world do we have people who put themselves out there to be the smartest of the smart, debatiest of the debaters, the master debaters that exist? How in the world have they been arguing for a year against me, with my side saying if you pay 10 months of rent, you get to rent that place for 10 months, and their side, in their absolute wisdom, their absolute knowledge, has been for a year? No, when you move, if you have 10 months left on your lease, you have to pay all of that, or if you don't, you're gonna get sued. How is it that smart people, debunkers, scientific people would ever make that argument? Because one of their friends was whacked out and needed money, and it's the only thing he could think to use when he ran that fundraiser. And once he started going with it, they are the kind of people, no matter if they're lying, no matter if they are just wrong, they can never admit it. They will never admit when they're wrong. They cannot. They will get their friends to go fight for them because they themselves are too cowardly, and let their friends troll in their name on the topic to try and be as edgy and funny as they can when really they're just trolling and vet bashing. I don't know how that's comedic to any degree. I guess some people out there might find it amusing if they send them foot pics. But anyway, the point in the end of all this is we all knew for the last year that this fundraiser was a scam, whatever word you want to call it. And we knew this because we aren't insane, lying pretenders like these guys. We got up here and said, look, seriously, if you paid 10 months of rent, you're going to have that place for 10 months. So if you do get evicted, then they're just going to do it after the 10 months. And even in that situation, if you've already moved all your stuff out of the apartment and just let it sit there for 10 months, they're still not going to go in. They're not going to touch it. How is it that we are still here and they have been shown hard proof? It's almost like they're in denial. It's almost like they're trying to prove something to people, and they don't really understand their side. They don't really get the fundamental criticism and the fundamental facts about what they're trying to prove or say. And they're just literally sitting there saying, no, you, la, 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 la. It's like when Nathan Thompson goes around trying to convince people that the earth is tabletop flat. It's just like that. He's in denial of the science. He's in denial of the evidence. He's in denial of the footage, of the proof that shows it's a globe. And he tries to go around and hook his friends into believing him and to putting on the act of believing in this imaginary land with them. It's almost exactly the same if it wasn't for the fact that believing in that flat earth is not as bad as running a fundraiser for $10,000 and then running off with the money. They are worse than flat earthers, and I can make the argument very easily. They haven't tried to combat my argument. They've tried to claim I'm worse than a flatty. That's their way of debunking the fact that they are worse than flatties, by claiming I'm worse than a flatty. I don't know how that helps with the fact that they took the money and ran. I guess they're saying that stealing $10,000 from your community is not worse than believing in a flat earth, right? Even though every person here in the United States has a right to believe in that if they want. They have a freedom of religion. They got a freedom to believe what they want, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. You don't have a freedom, though, to lie to people to take money. You don't. That's not a freedom that you have. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a crime. Either way, that's what we need to talk about. We need to talk to the live chat and get your opinion on why you think they going dead silent does nothing more than prove their guilt. Why do you think that their friends are trolling, but yet think that they just, people out there don't believe that they're trolling? The people out there think that they're joking or something and they don't care. And why do you think that one of them stood up, just one, actually tried to stand up and pretend to make an argument, but he failed miserably when he wouldn't even address the actual point? Is it okay to steal $10,000 from your community? How do you define what they did as anything but stealing? How do you not demand that their current fundraiser be accounted for 100% like they promised in the beginning, when we can prove they've stolen fundraiser money a year ago, ironically, by their own standards? I've gone as far as to play their own criticisms, the people involved criticizing other people and their fundraisers and their behaviors. And by all the standards that they have criticized with, they themselves meet the burden of stealing that money. Provably, to the evidence, they meet the burden of stealing the money. And the most spectacular thing about it, they all think that if they just pretend that they didn't do it hard and long enough, that it's all just going to go away. Well, you tell me what you think in the live chat, and then we're going to figure out what we are going to do next. All right. Let's see here. First things first, I'm just going to go through the live chat. I'm waiting on Streamlabs to kick in so that I can pay you guys rocks. Unfortunately, it's like Streamlabs just doesn't want to work tonight. Give it a few minutes. As soon as Streamlabs starts working, it will. It will. As soon as it starts working, I'm going to pay you guys some rocks, and then we're going to hang out and chill and talk to each other for a few minutes. I've got some videos I might want to watch or some other stuff we might do, or I might go offline. I'm not sure yet. Either way, though, if you see Streamlabs, make sure you let me know. I have not had another man to ask me for $1 in over 15 years. We are men. We handle our own. We work and provide for ourselves. These bums are not normal, says Hood, the manager of the manager. Hood, you know, I haven't even begun to criticize. Now, I don't think that it's wrong to have help I don't think that it's wrong to give charity. But I do think that the concept of charity easily is abused. And I think that when you abuse the concept of charity, even if you abuse it the slightest, what you're doing is taking it into the taking advantage of another person zone. So when somebody says, you know, we are trying to be charitable and help others, you're only helping others if you are not taking advantage, because the minute you take advantage of the donators to help this one person, you are provably, if we wanted to argue it, doing a massive amount more damage here than you're doing to help the one person, even if you tell yourself something different. That's why when you do discuss things and when you do try to argue things, you cannot just make the rules yourself. That's not what someone that is debating or discussing or logically, critically thinking through something does. They don't make the rules. They look at the situation and find what's logical or what's normal, and then they criticize from that place. So when you hear them catering their criticism to say things like the clip I played for you in one of my last streams, where you heard them say Antonio Subarats kept $380 over his goal in a fundraiser, and according to them, and I played this clip, you can hear it with their own mouths, according to them, he scammed the fundraiser due to not refunding the $380 that went over the $3,500 goal or whatever it was. In those types of situations, you would call that criticism of the fundraiser an extreme criticism, a very strict criticism. We know that you get what I'm saying, right? The reason why it is strict and extreme is because the concept of criticizing a fundraiser rests upon what you tell the person the money's going for and whether you do that. So when you look at it from that perspective, I myself do not agree with their criticism. I don't think that because somebody does a fundraiser for $3,500 and gets $4,000 that they're scamming people. I'm telling you it's possible. It's dependent on the situation. If you're, you know, there's a tragedy or a house fire or something like that, and somebody is going to keep money from that, everything that goes over the goal they're going to put in their pocket, then yes, you're scamming. But if everything that goes over the goal is going to help the victims of the fire, then you're not scamming. If you're going to raise money for a computer and you get $4,000 instead of $3,500, then you can just buy a nicer computer or some peripherals and you're not scamming. It all depends on the situation and the context of what's going on. When we look at the fundraisers we are discussing, the point here, one of the bigger points is if you're going to do a fundraiser to move and you don't move where you say you're moving, and you don't meet those conditions, then you should return the money. You can't say, I'm going to go to Florida and get a job with this money, and then when you gain the money, decide to move in with a woman where there is no guarantee of a job just so you can have sex with her and have that, and you know, gain that from the move instead of gaining employment, instead of gaining the ability to make content with the person you advertised it as. That in itself is enough to say that this fundraiser was mismanaged and a scam. In fact, when I first criticized it, one of my main points was the thing he's saying he needs the money for with his own mouth is not possible. It's against the law, because it is in that area. I don't want to bore you. This is really boring. I'll go to the chat. I just wanted to give you time to type. Did Streamlabs start working yet? Streamlabs literally should be working by now, or something's wrong with Streamlabs tonight. All right, refreshed it again. Let's see what you guys got. We'll let the conversation move based on what you guys say, so. Isn't that kind of debunking that something that people with a middle school education should be able to do? Yes, and I truly do think this is why in this community we are seeing so many weak-willed scammers and fundraiser theft apologists in the creators around them. Like, you'll get these people that will call out flatties for literally barely, you know, people will call them out for taking in super chats while talking about this issue. or running a fundraiser around this issue and call it a scam immediately. The same people we're talking about. But when they keep $8,000 and run away with it, and when they don't even barely even come close to doing what they said they were going to do with the money, they don't think it's a scam. You're correct. I think it answers questions. Streamlabs isn't working yet. We're going to cross our fingers. Okay, let's keep moving. Do any of them have jobs? I do not believe so. I don't know. I don't know if they consider YouTube their job. By the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with considering YouTube your job. It's not what I'm saying. These guys love to straw man, so you got to be specific. Don't put the grown man label on me, said Hi Guy. I'll try not to. I'll try not to. I give thousands away to charity. These people are con artists. I agree with you. I agree with your opinion. I think that this is at a point where every one of their fundraisers is suspect for very extreme misappropriation, mismanagement, or just straight out keeping the money. Especially when you start to look into the details. Now, these points are things we're not even getting into yet. Haven't even started breaking it down. Haven't done it on YouTube yet at all. Okay? Why? Because we can't even move past the beginning. These guys are so upset that their empire has fallen, that the truth is out there, and that more people every day realize what really happened here, that they're starting to really break down. They're starting to react in very extreme ways. They're starting to break terms of service often, and it's just really hitting a crisis point with them. The triggering is unreal. If they need money, just be truthful. I don't have a job and need to eat and pay rent. Well, Anon, again, this would, and great point, and thank you, but this all would fall back to why the standard of a fundraiser is what it is. When you do a fundraiser, if you tell people that the thing that's happening to you is out of your control, they are much more likely to donate a much greater amount. Why? Well, this is basic logic. Because if they think that you yourself put yourself in that situation, they're not going to feel like bailing you out with their money. But oh yeah, no, I'm good on all that. I'm good on all that. The point is, when you okay, here's the point that I've made on Periscope. What we know he factually did with the money that he claimed he was going to give to the landlord, we know is very different from what he originally stated. So, to give a point to what Anon said, I'm going to present you the two situations. I'm going to present to you what they said they were going to do with the money. Then I'm going to present to you what they did with the money. And then you'll understand why they did it. So let's do that really quick. In fact, I might even want to use the Billboard of Doom on this. So let's get the Billboard of Doom out. Give me back, Busy, my screen, please. Thank you. And can I get a ink brush size 3 in a deep dark black? Thank you, sir. So good to hear your voice, Busy. Okay, so what they said they were going to do with the money compared to what they did, and then you tell me whether people are likely to actually donate more in this situation or the other. So, the first thing that they said they were going to do is move somewhere with a job. They were going to move to Florida, and they had to pay off the landlord so they could move to Florida and have the job. That when he got there, he was going to be living with a YouTuber so that he could make content with the YouTuber. The people watching they were watching the channel it was hosted on was the YouTuber he was going to move in with. Okay. And what else was it? So he was going to move with a job and he had to pay the landlord, and that's why he had to ask for so much money. Landlord with the money sign. Now, what he did with the money instead, and he didn't move somewhere where he had a job. He moved somewhere where he had a girlfriend. and this girlfriend was moving him in to bang him. This isn't what I said. This is what they've said. He moved in with this girl he met at a funeral. Love at a funeral. We're gonna have love at a funeral. Make love at a funeral. Love at a funeral. sorry. A musical that I haven't brought to YouTube yet. So he moved in with a girl. He did not pay the landlord. So he did not pay the landlord at all. So he got to keep $8,000. And there was no guaranteed job. There was no guaranteed place for them to live. In fact, he had to do another fundraiser a short time later to get him and the new girlfriend a place. All of those fundraisers and issues would have never happened if he would have done this. So it would have even saved the... Oh, Streamlabs is in. Streamlabs is in. Streamlabs is in. So it would have saved the donators not just the $8,000 that he kept and didn't give to the landlord. It would have, on top of that, not the future fundraisers that he had to do, which were many, he would not have had to do if he would have just went here to Florida. But the point is, if you would have stood up in front of your audience on Red's channel and said, I'm going to go to Florida, make content with Reds and live with them. I have a guaranteed job there with Reds. So that the thought is, well, I won't have to do fundraisers all the time because I'll have my job. And I have to pay my landlord for the next 10 months of my lease in order to move. So I need $8,000 plus $2,000 to move. That's $10,000. So when you tell your audience this, they are likely to donate a certain amount. Why? It's going to solve problems. You're going to have a better life. They are basically paying you so that they'll get content with two people that they want to see make content together. All of these things specifically target the needs and wants of that audience. They want to see them do good. They want to see them not run more fundraisers. They want them to be happy. They want them to make content. This all happens if you say this stuff. What happens, though, if you tell them the truth? If you tell them that you aren't going to pay your landlord, they're not going to donate $8,000. They would probably not even feel comfortable donating $1,000 for you just to go to Florida. If you told them instead of getting a job, you're going to have sex with your girlfriend, the girl you're moving in with, I doubt they're going to pay to have you go there and bang someone as opposed to go work and make content. And if you told them the other details, they are likely probably not even to send $1,000. A lot of people might throw 5 or 10 just for the F of it, but I doubt that they're going to feel comfortable funding the real reality of what was happening. And the saddest part is all of this was known before he even did the fundraiser. So don't say things changed. Things didn't change. He had the offer from the girlfriend the whole time. He was sitting there communicating with her since the funeral. Love at a funeral, love at a funeral. So my thing is, there's a reason why people will, when doing fundraisers like this, instead of stating what is true, what is actually going to happen, dress up the thing they need the money for. They look at their audience and state, what do I need to say out loud to give me an excuse to ask for a large sum of money? What do I need to say out loud to guarantee I'm going to get a large sum of money? And even if I can't make those things happen, at least if the donators never find out, or if the donators are never educated on what really happened with their money, they're not going to make a big fuss about it, report me later, and he won't get in trouble for doing it. Why? Why do I say that? Because doing what I just described, telling people you need money for this, but then going and doing this with the money, is considered fraud. And it's why, even though I never accused Reds of frauds in any of my streams on Scope, he told people immediately when he got triggered and went out booming about this that I accused him of fraud, because he knew that if they did do what the evidence shows they did, then yes, there was a fraud. He did. So we know that there's a reason why they told their audience those specific things. And if things did change, why wouldn't they just be up front, go to the place where they did the fundraiser and tell people? Why wouldn't they just go and update them with what was really going on? Nothing here was done correctly. Nothing was done, in an honest way. But it gets even worse when you look at their new fundraiser. Their new fundraiser, the one with Bull, has the same conditions that I just named. When they asked for the money for Bull, they didn't tell people the truth about what they needed the money for. They stated they needed to do a funeral and pay for funeral expenses, and therefore they could ask for $15,000. When you have a funeral and you have all the costs next to it, it can cost up to that much. So what really happened in reality, Bull was cremated and didn't have a funeral. So the funeral costs that made the fundraiser up to $15,000 now are gone. In reality, they're not there. So that's like a blatant lie. It's not even a misrepresentation. If the misrepresentation would, why is it that every single time they change reality while describing what they need money for in their fundraisers, it always gives them the ability or the wiggle room to ask for large amounts of money due to the change in information? Because it's purposeful, because they're doing it to justify the large amount of money asked for. And that's exactly what they did in the fundraiser a year ago and the one now. It's why people should claim, ask for them to have an accounting through authorities. So either way, you don't have to worry. It's happening either way, but also, the current fundraiser they said they needed to move Bull's belongings, though we found out later that from the very beginning, and they claim to have talked to the family. Well, not from the beginning. They said they didn't talk to the family until after the fundraiser, though after I criticized them, they changed their document to state that. Okay, just so you know. But when the family says that they told them immediately that they didn't want any of Bull's belongings, so why in the world should he have put on the fundraiser they needed to move Bull's belongings? Shipping a dog, they say it cost $2,500, and he himself admits it shouldn't cost more than a few hundred. All of these things together allow them to ask for a large sum. And this is a constant with their fundraisers. You'd be shocked going back and looking at some of the other fundraisers that they've done, either with their very close friends or themselves, where these same things are present. This is why people look at every one of the fundraisers now, and if they aren't lying to themselves, a member of a cult, or straw manning for their friends, they are going to say that they have to account. That's why this conversation's been happening. You get me? Do we know the total that was collected yet? That's the problem, Anon. Nobody but Reds and Sean know exactly how much was taken in. Why? Because instead of using GoFundMe, remember, they did use GoFundMe to take some of the money. Then they used the same account that they used a year ago to keep the money to take the other part of the money. So they used Sean's PayPal back then to collect the money that they ran off with. They used Sean's PayPal now to take a big part of Bull's fundraiser. Where did the other part of the fundraiser go? The other part of the fundraiser went to GoFundMe. So you're going to say, why did they do a fundraiser on GoFundMe, but also at the same time do a fundraiser on Sean's PayPal? I only can tell you my opinion. I think they planned on making it to where you couldn't account for how much money they took in. You can look at GoFundMe. It'll tell you they made $3,300 on GoFundMe for this issue. You cannot look at the PayPal and know how much money they took in there, right? There's no way to. But then it gets even worse when you realize they cashed the GoFundMe account to the family. No, they didn't. They did it into Red's and Sean's accounts. They cashed the GoFundMe into Ilya Moon's account, who's helped them run fundraisers in the past. And then she put the money into Red's bank account, who sent the money to Astronomy Lie's bank account, who then mailed a check to the family, according to them. So my point is, could they have, is it possible where their information sits that you know what they took in and what they gave the family? You do not. You have to trust them that they gave the family anything. You'll say, but UNIRock, do we have to trust? Why don't we know that they gave the family the GoFundMe money? Because they cashed the GoFundMe money into their own bank accounts. You have to trust that that check went to the family. That check wasn't even for half of the money they say that they raised. Because remember, they say they raised $2,800 in Sean's PayPal. After changing it, originally they said $1,800. The next day they raised it up to $2,800. This is after it was closed, by the way. This is while they're showing receipts, by the way. They couldn't even read their own receipts properly, just so you know. So Sean's PayPal gets $2,800. The GoFundMe gets $3,300. And they, for some reason, took the GoFundMe money when they had the ability, they had the accounts, they had everything to where they could have paid the family as the benefactor of the GoFundMe, but instead took the GoFundMe money into their own bank accounts. What is the major point here? The major point here is they have criticized flat earthers for doing this same stuff, for trying to keep money or trying to misappropriate money in fundraisers. I played those. I played clips of Reds and Sean criticizing flat earthers for doing fundraisers in my last video, and the standard for which they criticize those flat earthers is extremely less than what they're doing themselves. Therefore, they are admitting that criticism is valid towards them. The criticism I've given on Scope, the criticism I've given on YouTube, by their own actions, their own criticisms, by what they've done in these situations, is 100% valid to their standard and to the normal world standard. The criticism must have happened. In fact, without my criticism, we wouldn't have even gotten part of the accounting that they've given. The accounting they've given is just 1 or 2% of the accounting that they should have given. Why is that? You want logic for that one? Okay. Using GoFundMe, which they chose to do, but deposit into their own bank account so that it couldn't be tracked. Using GoFundMe would have accounted for 100% of all the money they took in, and then the family would have been the benefactor, the payee, with a click of a button. Why would they ever not pay the family with the GoFundMe and instead put the money into their own accounts? I am telling you that if they had never stolen fundraiser money in the past, you could be charitable and still be logical, or still be at least somewhat not an idiot to say you have to at least give them the percentage that they paid the family. But once they've stolen money in the past, you are a fool to just assume that they're not going to do it again. If you want to see the evidence that they stole money in the past, just go watch my last couple videos. I have recorded what they asked them for the money for. I show the laws in the area. I show the court papers that show that they didn't give that money to the landlord like they said they did. I showed the law that shows that they wouldn't have even been able to pay the landlord like they claimed they were going to. And we all know that if you give your landlord 2 years of payments, then you are renting the place for 2 years. YouTubers like Slice Barcane are trying to make arguments that would get Reds and Sean off the hook. The problem is he didn't take his time to actually look at what's here before doing it, and he's gotten himself in way too deep. If you don't believe me, you can go look at his Twitter or go watch his video on this. You will not come out the other side of his video even believing that he really even knows what's going on here. He does, though, in my opinion. He knows what's going on, and he's doing this on purpose to defend his friends. And that is one of the most extreme parts of this story. It's not just that their community will not criticize Reds and Sean for doing this to the donators, to the community. It's not just that. It's that their entire community is based on criticizing flat earthers for doing exactly what these guys are doing. It shows they're hypocritical. It shows their opinions should not be listened to, that they are not valid to criticize flat earthers if they're worse than flat earthers or if they're doing the same thing they yell at the flat earthers for. So what are they saying? Hey guys, let's laugh at these flat earthers, show how wrong they are, and cringe at these flat earthers. But we're not going to do it when our friends do things that are much worse than what the flat earthers do. That just doesn't make fucking sense. It just doesn't add up. They do it because Flat Earth does it, and they think they're better, in my opinion. Allegedly, they do. They think they're better than everybody else. Yes. Hell, they advertise that they believe all opinions are sacred. So why do they get so affected and triggered and butthurt when the entire world holds the opinion that they're covering for their friends stealing the fundraiser money because they gain something from it too? Because that's the truth. That's what's happening. The conspiracy theory out there is that they didn't steal the fundraiser money. Why is that? Because we've got more evidence that they took the fundraiser money than we have for the globe Earth. And you are a conspiracy theorist if you don't believe that the Earth is a globe. You at least need to admit it. Very true, Janie, yeah. Flat Earth debunking is easy, and even 62 IQ can do it. But Sly shows little more intelligence when reading court documents or leases. In the end, we basically can distill this whole thing down to the point that there are two sides. Our side is that not only is what he said he was going to do with the money illogical and a lie and not make any sense, but we have documents that prove he didn't do what he said he was going to do with the money. Okay? We have their own recordings as the evidence. We have their own documents as the evidence. And we have their own damage control lying streams as the evidence. So I am independent of the evidence. You don't need me to show it to you. You can just get the links, look at it yourself, and make your own decision. Okay? You can take out that it's Red's Rhetoric and Sean Hufflepeg and put in that it's Nathan Oakley and Sleeping Warrior and do a test, a thought experiment. Okay, Nathan Oakley says he needs to pay his landlord for 10 months. And just go through it as if it's someone else. No matter what you do with the evidence in front of you, you're going to come to the determination that they kept the fundraiser money and went on a party spree with it instead of doing what they said they were going to do with it, which was get a job, make content, and live with the YouTuber. Got me? The other side says, what is the other side's evidence? Nothing. They've gone dead quiet since this all happened. What does the other side say that they did with the money? Nothing. He hasn't talked at all since this was released. He has ran off. He's gone. So the point is, the two sides that you have, there's only one side even bringing evidence or even bringing logic, even bringing anything at all. The other side is dead quiet. People like Sly will just get up there and straw man and say, or lie about what I've said. He told people that I was claiming there's no other way to be evicted or something like that. When did I ever say that? Did you play a clip? Did you show me saying that? Because I think that you're either lying or at the very least misrepresenting what I said. I never said that though. So in the end though, we are going to have these guys provably looking at what Nathan Terpson did, which is run off with fundraiser money. What's the dude's name? What's the YouTuber's name? McToon. McToon already has criticized Nathan Terpson, as he should. And the rest of the people who look at these guys and criticize these flatties should criticize Nathan Terpson based on the information we have. The problem is the only information we have that Nathan has done any type of impropriety is the claims of two other flatties. Because Nathan says he didn't do what they're claiming he did. He didn't run off with the money. Nerthan's trying to clear his name, right? He's saying these dudes are lying on him. The problem we have in Nerthan's situation, the only evidence we have is that the words these guys say. In Sean and Red's situation, we have the opposite. We have 0 words because they've gone dead quiet on any of this, and all we have is hard evidence that proves it. Court records and their own words asking for the money. So, what is Sly going to have to do? Sly is going to have to go and criticize McToon and say, McToon, you can't criticize Nerthan Thompson because even if you have court records and even if you have their own words recorded, you can't prove that they stole fundraiser money. That's his excuse for those guys. The court records don't prove they stole the money. The court records don't prove that these guys ran off with the money. That's Sly's side. No reason, no rhyme, nothing backing up his claim. It's an empty claim, but that's what he says. So what is Sly going to have to do if he really does hold that opinion? He says he's not blindly defending his friends. He says that he's exposing the liar UNIRock. Well, fine, Sly. Now you're going to have to call out McToon for calling Nerthan Thompson a GoFundMe scammer without having enough evidence, because in your opinion, what you have on those guys isn't enough evidence. What about Fight the Flat Earth? What is he going to do? He's got Reds helping him make content on his channel. Reds has stolen way more than Nerthan Thompson did. So how is he going to call out Nerthan Thompson for this, running off with fundraiser money, leaving his friends broken down in an RV, and not call out Reds and Sean for doing what they did a year ago and doing what they're doing now in this current fundraiser? Will they say something? Well, one of their friends, instead of coming out and doing something more relevant to the time period, decided they were going to replay an old debate between Fight and Nerthan instead of doing the current topic, which I thought was strange. Not really, though, when you say to yourself that all these guys have done, anybody around them, they have either kept quiet since the proof came out to defend their friends, to keep their friends, other people from realizing what evidence is out there, calling people's attention to it. They've gone quiet to not do that. Or they've done videos screaming and yelling at me and menace to sobriety. Or they did what I just described with playing an old video, an old debate. So why does it make them look so bad to sit and yell and scream at me and menace instead of criticizing Reds and Sean? Because even if, let's just pretend in some alternate reality, even though they claim they're joking, that me and Menace are lying on Reds and Sean in some way, shape, or form. They won't tell you how I'm lying on them, because if they do specify, they'll be debunked instantly. But in some faraway land, let's imagine that they, have it. We'll just give them one lie. So they're going to yell at me and Menace because we lied on Reds and Sean. But they're not going to call out Reds and Sean for ripping off the entire community that donated a massive amount of money to them and then lying about it for a year. You realize Reds and Sean have lied for an entire year about this fundraiser. Sean didn't even come out and try to explain being evicted or try to explain what happened. And like I said, after I put out the evidence that he ran off with the money, he stayed quiet, and so is Reds. If you're going to say you're mad at me for lying and you get to yell at me on streams and troll and do all these things and somehow you're justified, how is it that you can't yell at Reds and Sean for lying about something that big for a long period of time and having hard proof that they have lied? You don't even tell people what me and Menace have lied about. Do you see the issue? They're not good at this. They just don't get it. They won't track what's going on and actually respond. It would damage them massively to do so. They would be telling their audience that they also have lied, obfuscated, trolled to distract from Reds and Sean having the evidence come out. if they were honest with their community, if they didn't just sit there and troll and scream and yell and get triggered and boom out. And yes, it's because they know that their empire is crumbling around them, that as more and more of their audience members find out that they've lied about this for this whole year, and the amount of clips and the amount of content that they put out lying about the situation, they know that as those people find it, they're not going to support them anymore, donate to them, help them out, or whatever else they do. The only people they're going to have left are the people that pay Cheshire for the feet pics she sends them. And she can't get mad at me for saying that, because she's the one who talks about that on her stream, and her friends talk about how she does that. So anyway, let me go through the chat a little bit more and see what else you guys are saying, and then we'll figure out what else we're going to do tonight. You liking the background? I like it. I like the background. I like the floating car. I like floating 8-bit cars. We asked for receipts, so they showed a couple receipts. They just have a problem with thinking. Hi, guys, what it is. Bring Navy in. Oh, is he ready? All right. I didn't know Navy was ready. Navy, give me a check. All right, hold on. I gotta switch. I gotta switch our input over from auxiliary to main. All right, give me one more.
Check.
Perfect. How's it going, bro?
Oh man, doing good. You know, they switched my schedule up at work, so I'm working a little later now. Then I'm hitting the gym, and then coming back here to hang out with you guys, and going pretty
nice. Good. Awesome, bro. So the development since the last time me and you streamed and talked about this situation, essentially, Nerthan Termpson steals fundraiser money and runs off with it, and it's ironic because their community calls out Nerthan Termpson all the time. What do you think they're going to do about this? Do you think they're going to ignore what Nerthan Termpson did, knowing that they're hypocritical for not calling out Sean and Reds for the same thing, or do you think they'll do something different? What do you think?
Oh, I think that they're all going to say that it's not the same thing, and they're going to claim that, oh, it's not true, even though we have all the evidence to this. And there are going to be those that see this, and they're going to be real quiet. They'll call out and they'll call it Nerthan Termpson, but they're going to be real quiet about everything else. They're not going to have anything to do with it. But those that have been the staunch supporters are going to flat earth it all the way up, even with the evidence.
Oh, they're flat earthing it. They're doing worse than any flat earther I've ever seen in the situation. So
yeah, I mean, it's just laughable.
Yeah, it is. You know that Reds and Sean have gone dead quiet. They will not respond to this. Cheshire is just out trolling like a cringy boomer mad woman on this. Do you also hold the opinion that the information, the evidence is so damning that they know they can't bring it up without fully exposing what they've done to their community? What do you think?
Yeah, but I think that's the reason why we've seen the personal attacks against you and Menace recently, is because I don't remember if we were on stream talking about this or we were in chat, is that the idea is that the moment that they start going after personal attacks is the moment that they're deflecting. The whole idea of bringing up your military service is, even if the whole purpose was that they knew that it was going to enrage people, it enraged them about something other than what you were pointing out about their community, right?
Very true.
So I think that is they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to fight against the evidence, because even their own people are going to be like, but we had this court document. So instead of address it at all, they'd rather just start another fire somewhere else and go, oh, look, there's a fire over there. You know what I mean? So
definitely, that was one of Chest Hair's tactics, was to vet bash me and try to act like I was never in the military. But now, Navy, I don't know if you heard this. She was actually asked why she vet bashed me so much, and she came back to say, I didn't vet bash, I was just asking questions. My response was that the definition of vet bashing is not to sit and put somebody down because they were in the Army. The definition of vet bashing is with no evidence whatsoever to try to question somebody's military record. That, you get me? So it's almost like she doesn't even fully understand what it is she did, or she's pretending not to. But it is interesting that that's the tactic she took, right?
Well, the thing is this, is that, because like I was just asking for evidence. Well, from what we heard, you were accusing him of lying about it.
Yeah.
And you have no evidence. That is vet bashing, and that is going after vets. And then to say at the end of the entire stream, oh, I'm just kidding, right? Because you know that what you said was human trash. You said, yeah. I am straight up human trash with these comments. But I do honestly think it's a diversion. I think it's to divert everybody from what is going on.
Well, it didn't work, because I've seen more people out there talk about this. Even flatties are now talking about this. We even have people asking me for the evidence now pretty often, and others getting the evidence from others. And we've got basically the entire community, large YouTubers and small, seeing the evidence for themselves and knowing that not only did Sean and Reds do exactly what I told them that they did a year ago, which is keep the money because they asked for it for a reason that doesn't even add up. You can't even take money for what they claim they needed it for. It doesn't work that way. But to go a step further with it, the people out there, once they see the evidence, know who knew and who doesn't. And this is the crazy thing. You see somebody like Glober Mom decide to schedule a stream watching an old debate between Nerthan Termson and FTFE instead of talking about Nerthan Termson running away with fundraiser money. And you say everybody says she's literally trying to not bring the topic up, knowing people are going to say, why are you calling out Nerthan Termson for stealing less money in a less extreme way, in a less of a lie, not lying about it for a whole year, but you can't call out your friends who you've been blindly defending. And you can tell who is helping them and who's not, is what I'm saying. Very true, Dead GPK. Yeah, that's one of the biggest points still. Most people are sitting here just asking themselves how people who have been so forward with their insults and criticisms and commentary over flatties doing things that are not as fucked up as the people they support. It's pretty extreme. I think it's extreme, man. It's getting extreme. Let's see. I want to make sure. Yeah, I know, Lisa. I don't have a lot of time right now. They're going to have to fucking wait at least until things calm down before I'm going to have time to, so. Anon. Yeah, I'll ask him sometime. All right. She's trained because she's trained by Silverfish, who has no concept of critical thinking at all. He's proven that in the last couple days, too. What about him not saying something, right? He has claimed for a year and a half that I'm a liar. But now he has his friends being literally proven to be liars and hasn't said a single word. How does that stack up, Navy? What do you think there?
Well, here's the funny thing. So, whenever all this stuff happened with the NSS case and what happened with Kyle and stuff, right? I even said it on your stream, is that, well, if this is true, if what they're saying is true, that they have evidence that this took place, and they can show the evidence, which they haven't really. It hasn't been proven in court, but from the evidence we saw, you can kind of go, okay, well, maybe this is true. Then all this, then Kyle needs to be held responsible. Either he shouldn't have done this. Right?
Oh, damn, that's a good point.
And we at least came out and said that if this is proven to be true, we will get behind the evidence and say that, yes, Kyle is in the wrong.
Of course, we've said that the whole time, that we would criticize Kyle for anything he did wrong. We did, too, the last time he was here. Navy, you just hit the hardest point that I haven't even brought up yet. Red's rhetoric and Sean and Shesh and Steb have all sat around saying that Kyle stole money from his community. They say that Kyle did it because he took in super chats and didn't pay Steb. We've got hard proof that Red's Rhetoric and Sean stole money from their community. Hard evidence, straight up. So why aren't they asking for accountability from Reds and Sean when they've been demanding accountability for a year for Kyle? What the hell's up with that, man? Holy shit. Holy shit. That's a pretty damn psycho thing here. This is what some people may not understand. For over almost a year and a half or even more, these guys have constantly gone live or tweeted about how Kyle Curtis has to be held accountable for stealing money. They are the most extreme people that exist. They have tweeted more than anyone else when it comes to demanding someone be held accountable for stealing money. But their own friends have hard proof put in front of them that they stole money. They've seen the proof, and yet they're quiet as church mice over this. If so, does that mean, is this proof that they faked their outrage towards Kyle this whole time?
I think it just proves
that yeah. Oh, it does. It proves they're hypocrites. It proves that they really don't care when someone steals money from a community like they've been pretending. What's it called when you get on the internet and you pretend to do something? What's a word that describes pretending to do something on the internet? LARPing, that's right.
LARPing, yeah.
Grand larpsiny. Yes, we could call it grand larpsiny.
Well, and the funny thing is, right? The funny thing is they claim, and this is hilarious when they do this because it's such projection that it's just, you could write a book on it. But when they claim that you only go after the GoFundMes that you don't, do yourself, and all this kind of stuff, talking about Kyle and stuff, which you didn't even run that GoFundMe. They're lying again. But the funny thing is that that's exactly what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I've never ran a GoFundMe or a fundraiser, so definitely. But no, it's a good point. That's what they're doing here. They are sitting around pretending as if I've ran fundraisers so that they can sit and claim, Uni's a fundraiser scammer, not us. But that's what they've done throughout the last 4 or 5 years on the internet. Anytime that they do something wrong and get exposed for it, they try to say somebody else is doing that. You remember they were trying to say that Nate the lawyer harmed Sweet Heathen when because of what he said to her on Twitter. When you went and looked at Twitter, you saw Sweet Heathen following Nate the lawyer around and tagging him constantly and tracking him around constantly. And then you saw Nate basically say, "Leave me alone," and then block her. But somehow when they retell the story, he harmed her because of the words he spoke. But that's not even the worst part. For those of us that were around back then, it was during a debate in front of 1,000 people, he just blatantly accuses Nate of harming Sweet Heathen, and he says it in a way to where everyone in the audience thought that it was a physical harming. So yeah. Yeah. I remember. I remember this stuff now. I remember. Menace says, Menace, you're welcome to jump in, man. We can run some Tarkov if you want. Menace says, as soon as Kyle went on the lam, Uni went on scope and informed everybody there were serious issues regarding his GoFundMe. Some people immediately requested their money back, but these guys are silent. People got their money back to Menace, that wanted it. Other people didn't care, but the point was, I kept people updated. Well, that's the thing. Nobody can say that I didn't keep people updated on that entire story. Whether it was when I was talking to Steb, whether it was when I was talking with Kyle, whether it was when I wasn't talking to either of them. I kept people updated on that entire story throughout the whole thing. And everybody knew that. And they knew where they could go watch me. They knew where they could go hear it. So that's the biggest thing here, is that these guys will not even share the proof of what happened a year ago with the $10,000 fundraiser. They won't even share the proof. Now, this whole conversation came back up because their current fundraiser, they promised they would account. They promised us all they were going to give a full accounting of this current fundraiser that has to deal with someone's death, and they have not. They will not account. They will not prove to people what they took in for this fundraiser. They just won't do it. Though they still, with all of this information coming out, before the evidence hit, They were all yelling and screaming and trolling around in big groups together. Groups of 5 or 10 people at a time on Twitter. Now, though, they are silent. They're dead fucking silent, unless they're on sock accounts. But though they'll never admit to that until they get busted by their own community. But you get me. Yeah, I think it's a good point that Menace is making. That we've got these guys who aren't. They're not even willing to let their own community know what happened. Navy. They're not even willing to tell their community.
Well, that's the thing, and all they had to do is this too: is that go out there and say, well, if there is evidence that, you know, if there is court cases, you know, that show that Sean didn't tell the truth, then he needs to answer for, you know, for why, right? And that's all they had to say. And their audience would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Because if you and I had come out and said, or you had said something to the fact of, they're like, let's say I did something crazy, right? Or Kyle, we'll just use Kyle again. Kyle does crazy stuff, and they come to you and they're like, you're talking about it and all this kind of stuff. Oh, they're going after Kyle again, blah, blah, blah. And you go, Kyle. And someone in the chat asks, well, what do you think about Kyle doing this? And you're like, well, technically Stev is doing something, you know, untoward with Chesh. You know what I mean? If that would have been your answer, the community would have been, why are you dodging the question?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, what we've realized is that Red's rhetoric is just a faker. He is someone who gets up on the internet and plays as a big tough guy. And if you've ever seen Reds in person, you'd know he is the literal exact definition of not that. He's not a tough guy in any way. He couldn't even intimidate a 14-year-old. Even if the 14-year-old wasn't even a football player or anything. So anyway, and then he gets up there and tries to act like he's the most intelligent guy. He tries to act like he's the best debater. He tries to act like he's the most honest, most ethical, you know, the most charitable in running all these fundraisers. But he doesn't even understand how charity works. He doesn't get the fact that if he's not going to account for being charitable while promising it, that he is taking advantage of the people in just that one aspect. That in itself pins him as that. And then you look at the people around him and you see that this is just a big game. And I think that's the best thing I've heard today. People, someone I was talking to, I won't mention who, because if I do, they're going to attack them. And Navy, you're probably going to get attacked just for being on here, just so you know. So
bring it.
The point is, though, they said that these guys just act like they're playing a game. But they're not just playing a game. They're not just acting. They're not just joking. They're not just up here talking or giving an opinion or giving satire or whatever it is. What they're doing, in fact, I've got a great point that I've been holding in, Navy. When can we start comparing them to KJP? Remember, these guys were the ones that were making content every day about KJP, literally just yelling at her, not even making fun of her looks and yelling at her and just trolling KJP. When is it that we can compare what their issues were with KJP to what they are provably doing to show that they, like, we can at least say chest hair, she is 100% worse than KJP. Nowhere around it. KJP didn't even get up there and act like what she was saying about Toddy was, she didn't just get up there and lie about Toddy for an hour and a half and then go, sorry, I'm joking, and end the stream and then get sued. That's what Cheshire's done. She's gotten up there and lied about me and Menace, accused us of anything under the sun she could accuse us of while lying about us, and then said it was a joke at the very end of the stream. Also, where she lives, they don't have the same free speech protections that we do here. So it can be criminal to do that. And because of which, I've had to start communicating with our PTCs or whatever the hell they are. So all of this insanity is just so they can, and just like you said, probably just distract from this issue. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that makes sense.
No, yeah, and I can think you can compare them and stuff like that, because at least KJ, quote unquote, had a source, and they're just pulling this stuff out of nowhere and then claiming that it's just comedy, right? And if I remember correctly, I don't remember KJ drawing pictures of people in order to get a rise out of them.
Fraud crossing state lines is a federal crime, and so is wire fraud. It equals wire fraud. What would happen if a victim pressed charges conversions? Well, basically what's going on right now, just so you know, just so maybe you can help inform some people, is that anyone who's donated to the fundraisers at all that are in question, where they have lied about accounting, literally like verbally or tweeted or presented that they are going to 100% account, or basically if they tell you they're going to account, that equates to an actual accounting unless they specify. So they need to, do what they got to do. And anyone else who's been a target of their harassment also needs to make sure that they have to do what they got to do. And when I say do what you got to do, you're going to have to get advice and call and report it and do what needs to happen, because you are correct, Hoods. This is the problem. I'm not accusing them of committing a crime. I am telling you straight out, this is what it shows. This evidence proves that they have done this, okay? If you want to infer whatever you want to infer, you can, but I'm telling you that what my opinion is. I'm telling you what I think, and I'm showing you the evidence so that you also, that if I showed you a video of Reds, God forbid, running somebody over with a car, right? And it's a video of Reds. Hey guys, it's me, Reds Rhetoric. You can tell it's his voice. You can tell by the stick figure it's him, and the soy Burger King wrappers laying all around him and the soy fucking all over his face that it's him. And then I pan out a little bit and watch him just run somebody over with a fucking car. You're going to say, holy fuck, Red just murdered that guy, right? All I'm doing is showing you the evidence that Reds and Sean both said that they checked Sean. They checked Sean's evidence. They checked Sean's story. They saw the evidence with their own eyes, and that they could attest, along with BM Furball, that Sean was being honest and that UNIRock is lying. And then they let their friends piggyback off that information to repeat it. So what I'm saying is, I know factually that many of the people who donated money to them are reporting it from the last fundraiser a year ago, and even from the current one. So that, yeah, it might be that these guys have this current fundraiser turn out to be copacetic. We know, though, that it is not based on the standard of a fundraiser. When they tell people they're raising the money for the family so that the family can afford funeral costs, which they stated, and you find out that they don't have a funeral and that they cremated him, that's what they should have said when they did the fundraiser. So Red's saying, we're allowed to rush fundraisers. We don't have to talk to the family before we do a fundraiser. We don't have to do this. We don't have to do that. All these criticisms are lies. He needed to listen to those criticisms, because if he would have heard them, this wouldn't have happened. This whole issue. This is an issue. It's not imaginary. It's not a lie. This wasn't some charity that these guys did a year ago. It's not a charity that they're doing now. Why isn't it a charity that they're doing now? Because they weren't honest about what they needed the money for in the beginning. This is their major fundamental flaw. Now, the problem is, it's not that way for no reason. It is not that they are not being honest, that they're presenting false information when running fundraisers. It's not for no reason. I've just shown you that each lie they tell. So why don't they tell you they're going to cremate him? Because if you think that he's going to have a full burial, you're going to understand why it's set to $15,000. But when you hear that it's a cremation, not a burial, and then you find out that they didn't even ship any of his goods, you've just taken two things that would eat up money: the funeral, a large amount, and the shipping of the goods, $1,000 or so, and it's gone. It just, the funeral turns into a cremation. So instead of $12,000 for a funeral, you're looking at a couple thousand for a cremation. And I do know that you can still have a funeral for someone that's been cremated. It's just cheaper. But in this situation, they're not having a funeral for him. So the point is, even the current fundraiser meets every criteria for being a scam, being misappropriated, being the word that you use to describe people purposely lying and purposely mismanaging a fundraiser to gain more money from it. Now, why in the fuck do they care to lie about the fundraiser to gain more money from it? Unless they're gaining from it. I mean, it could be that they want the family to have more money. That's why they told certain lies when doing the fundraiser. Though, remember this, everybody, They did the fundraiser the day after he passed because the family needed to get the money fast. But when I started criticizing a month and a half later, they hadn't even tried to send any money to the family yet. They hadn't even started the process of sending money to the family. My point is, why did they rush it and then only start sending a check once I criticized? Well, I can only tell you what I think. I think once they started to get heat for the fundraiser, they started to panic and scrape their cash together to shoot a check over there. But that's my opinion. I can only draw that opinion based on their own actions. The core fundamental problem with these people, all of them, is they want to blame everybody else out there for what they do. And who do they pick to blame their own actions on? They pick the people that criticize them. Now, the thing is, people aren't criticizing the things they're doing that are private. People are criticizing the things that they are purposely broadcasting so they can get donators. Purposely broadcasting so they can attack somebody, so that they can troll, so that they can fulfill this need to satiate the triggering that they have felt, right? It's why they go around doing their harassment campaigns and lying on their streams for hours on end and all this other stuff, right? They do it because, like, did she even apologize for vet bashing? I don't give a fuck if you hate a person. If you vet bash them for hours on all these different streams and channels, or if you're a creator that allows somebody to vet bash somebody on your channel, you're at least going to apologize to that person regardless if they're your enemy or not, because you were wrong and you shouldn't have done that. I didn't tell you guys this earlier. You do know that I've shown Cheshire a picture of me in the service early on when I met her. I held it up to my camera when we were in a pre-show, when I was going to go on Steve's channel. So she knows I was in the military while she's vet bashing me. She's just lying after people outraged on her because she didn't expect her own audience to get so angry. My point is, none of this is happening coincidentally. None of the lies they're telling are coincidental. They were purposeful. Their choice to rush the fundraiser before talking to the family allows them to set the benefactor to one of their friends and to pay the money into their own accounts, because we don't have the family's info yet. We haven't talked to them yet. What happens a month and a half later when they get criticized? Now they're going to switch their story and start telling people that they set the fundraiser up with the family. And in the end, all that's going to happen here until the authorities get in because of the old fundraiser, and after they finish investigating it and doing everything they have to do with that one, then they're going to start peeling through all their other fundraisers. And until that happens, which is going to take a significant chunk of time, they're going to run more fundraisers. They're going to have to do it publicly or they won't get donos, and they're going to get criticized. Sorry to rant, Navy, but if you'd like to, you're welcome to jump in.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I was just reading something that was dropped in general. It's an interesting tweet of history revisionism.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hood says law enforcement should look at it. Individual donators should contact local cops. Small town police are the best. Getting money for one thing and using it for another is called conversion. And that's my problem. I've always told you guys, I don't know shit about the law. I'm not a lawyer. I never tried to be one. I was never interested in that shit. But I've always been upfront with you guys over that fact that I'm a layman when it comes to all that stuff. I try to warn people that when I talk about any court case or anything. You know, I'm giving my commentary, I'm giving my experience because I was pulled into these situations by the people involved. That's another thing. You think they'll do another fundraiser once the new stimulus payments start going out? Yeah, I think they're going to do a new fundraiser soon because Red's promised us he would. In fact, he said he would do another. He would keep doing fundraisers like he has been. So he plans on using all the shitty tactics, all the tactics to get more money, all the tactics to divert it into his own accounts. He's going to do all that again, and he's just going to get criticized until the police stop him. And it's just one of those fucked up things about you know, this situation, but it's just how it is. So, yeah. The way that they run the GoFundMes open them up to questioning. It does, Kitty. It does. And the main point is they do it publicly. That's why they're lolcows. Part of their act is them pretending like they don't understand why people hold the opinions that they do. They try to pretend like they don't get it. They do get it. Why? Because they themselves criticize other people to a higher standard than they're even being criticized for these fundraisers. Remember, I got clips. I could play them again if I really gave a fuck to, and I don't. You can go watch my past streams from the other day on this. But I got Sean saying that a person asking for $3,500 to go to college and getting $3,850 ran a scam fundraiser because they kept $350 and didn't refund the money. He just doesn't understand the concept of fundraisers, of charity, of criticism, or logic. And they just say things so they can fit the mold of a flatty debunking YouTuber or a red rocket YouTuber or a getting mad at people and getting triggered and talking about people being ard in the bum YouTuber. That's what the clips these guys generate. They may delete them, which Reds does. They delete them because they're embarrassed by them and they know how bad it makes them look. Thankfully, they've been lolcows long enough that these clips have been saved, and we have videos that are going to be coming out breaking down this whole situation for people. So it doesn't matter how many things that Reds deletes. Also, did you guys know that I showed proof on stream that a certain silver flap boomer was deleting tweets, and he was deleting those tweets as soon as I put out the proof of this situation? Navy, do you remember that?
Oh, I sure do.
Yes, this is good. This is good. A certain silverfish boomer was deleting tweets right the date and after that I put this information out. In fact, you can still see the evidence on his social blade. He put out that, oh, hold up. Right here. He put out that he has never deleted a tweet. Did you hear about that?
I did, and I saw in general earlier where they were showing how he absolutely deleted tweets.
Well, I'm going to show it right now. If you look here, this is his Twitter social blade. You can search it yourself. This is for this @ sign. It's his @ sign. If you go down to the day that I put out the information, he deleted more than 26 tweets, because if I tweet 50 times and it shows that I delete 26 tweets, then it means I've deleted 76 tweets, because it's every tweet I've put out minus the amount I've deleted. If he fucking tweeted 30 times this day, which I would say is at least normal, he deleted 56 tweets the day I put the information out. And days later, he deleted 9 plus however many he tweeted. You can go to this date, add up the amount of public tweets that he has, and then see how many he deleted that day. You can go to this date, add up the amounts of public tweets that he has, and add it to that number. So if it was 30, it'd be 56. If it was 30, it'd be 39. And you can see how many he deleted. Factually, though, he lied when he said that he didn't delete any tweets. Did he say that on Twitter, or where did he say that at?
I think it was on Twitter. I have a question about that. It's something I was wondering. So he claims he doesn't delete any tweets, yet he says go to the Wayback Machine and you can see it. But the thing is, if you go back to the Wayback Machine that captured it on the day he put those tweets out, they're going to be there.
Yeah.
Because it
Is that
captured
what he
it on
said?
that day of. Yeah. He said go back to, he goes, use the Wayback Machine.
Holy shit. He said use the Wayback Machine, not even realizing that the only time you have to use the Wayback Machine to look at tweets is because the person deleted the tweet and the Wayback Machine archived it so that you can still see it after being deleted from Twitter. So he told on himself, essentially, right?
Yeah, or he thinks people are stupid and don't understand what the Wayback Machine does. I mean, that's the literal reason why we use the Wayback Machine, is because you can't find them now. So you go back to the day of, and if they were captured in the Wayback Machine, they'll be there.
Do you remember back when I criticized Steve the first time?
Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, I do.
Okay. So, do you remember that before I criticized him, he loved me? I mean, up until the minute I criticized him, he was saying like awesome things about me, right?
Oh,
So
you're the
he
best
didn't.
researcher. You're awesome.
Okay, so his opinion didn't change the day before I criticized him or the day after. When did you see his opinion change?
The exact moment that stream came out where you said you were going to criticize him, jokingly or whatever.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure. We know he is a abhorrent liar. He's trying to convince people today that he decided to stop talking to me, that it wasn't over me criticizing him that he got pissed. No. It's just because he realized that I was a liar.
Oh, then it must have been some other silverfish that was blowing up General trying to get a hold of you.
Oh, I know. Where are the Pokemon drawings? Oh, there's many of them. I don't know if I can even show some of them because they're that good. I'd have to put them on Twitter. I don't think I could show them on YouTube because they funny. But we'll get to see them sometime. We'll get to see them. All right, what time is it? Because I don't stay up too late anymore. I don't get time to do streams, man. We've been streaming for 2 hours already. The time just flies. It's insane.
It is 11 o'clock your time.
Okay, so we've got these two sides, Navy. We've got our side, which we all hold our opinion based on the hard facts of this situation. The fact that they asked for the money and gave their specific reason for taking the money, which was to pay 10 months of rent to break their lease. We have the clips. All of our information are their clips compared with the proof, which is the court papers. Their side. How would you describe their side? Because my description is they have not, because Reds and Sean will not say anything. How do we have a side for them? Do you agree that they have no side to this? They've just gone dead quiet, and that means they don't have a side, correct?
Right, that's exactly right. Because what they've been doing is letting their little minions do the arguing for them on, Twitter and on YouTube and stuff like that. They haven't said anything.
So other than Sly, what is any excuse anyone's given for them in this situation of stealing the 10,000? Other than Sly. Sly just straw man. You can watch his video. Anybody can watch his video and hear and see it for yourself. But is there any other person on Twitter or anywhere who has put anything out that would explain anything at all in any way? Because I can't find shit. I can't find any of them actually talking about these guys stealing this money and having the proof come out that they stole it. I can see them trying to shit talk me, which they're welcome to do from now until the end of time. I'm not going to go into it, but for some reason they think that they're owning the uni because they're out there just talking shit. So, okay.
I think some of the real people are seeing this and they're just quietly backing away and leaving, right?
Oh no, that's true. I've gotten apologies. I've gotten apologies since this come out. I've gotten apologies from people who have shit talked me for long periods of time since this evidence came out. I'm going to be nice enough not to bring up who, so they don't get shit from the harassment squad, because you guys know the minute that these guys realize one of their own isn't with them anymore, they start attacking them like they attack everybody else. So
yeah, it's atrocious. It's crazy how they attack people. And they've done it recently with going after, people that are in this Discord, and it's sick. And everything that we say to them is not just attacking them. It's showing that this is the reason why we think that they're being shady, right?
Well, anyone can watch our streams and see that. Anybody can watch us talk about it and hear that for themselves. I got to grab a drink. So I need 30 seconds. I'm going to mute you. All right, guys, give me about 30 seconds. We'll be right back, and we're going to be ending this because we've gone over the 2-hour mark. Menace says, one possibility is that the landlord filed a frivolous lawsuit after receiving the money. That's a possible explanation, but then there would have been a 780 left over to steal. Also, Sean would have claimed that by now. not only would he have claimed that, he would have gone out and hired a lawyer, because he knows the sooner he hires a lawyer, the sooner he's not only going to get the money back from the landlord, but the sooner that he's going to get a lot more money for damages and things like that. So until he would file a lawsuit, he knows he can't use that excuse. But we know he didn't pay the landlord. The landlord isn't the one that has the issue. People have been asking him for the proof that he paid the landlord for a year. Even his own audience has. He always has an excuse, even though at any moment, if he'd actually paid, Sean could just call that company, because it's not an individual landlord, it's a landlord company, and he could have had them send the receipt to Sean, replace the receipt. Sean didn't think about these things when he came up with his lies. But I have myself done the same thing, Menace. I've considered whether his excuse is going to be, the landlord ripped me off. I did pay him. The landlord is lying to everybody. I'm going to sue the landlord. But, you know, the problem is, if he says that, he knows no one's going to believe it until he sues the landlord. And we all know he can't do that. Either way, let me grab a drink, and then we're going to go ahead and wind this down.
Man, I tell you what, there's a tweet thread just got thrown in general, and these guys they're sick in the head. They're just sick in the head.
What's it about?
Well, part of the claim is that a year ago, Menace was like had thrown like thousands of dollars to you, and you kicked him to the curb. He sucked up and got back in your good graces. And then they're claiming that you cheated on
hold on.
Rach with him.
I cheated on Rachel with Menace, huh?
That's what Silverfish said. Yeah, I heard
Okay.
that. I heard that laugh in the background.
He's
Well,
really
Kyle
butthurt.
Kyle too. So it was Menace question mark Kyle question mark. Yeah.
Well, I've never met Kyle, so I don't know how. Are they claiming it was some type of internet affair?
They didn't really specify. Just throwing wild claims out there.
Yeah,
And
see.
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that one of the famous phrases that can always be said is that a claim made without evidence can be summarily dismissed in the same manner.
Well, yes, but what they're doing, we all know what they're doing. What they're doing is trying to act like that I'm sitting here just asking random questions. It's the only defense they have, right? So they've chosen one of the most kind of like extreme responses to any situation I've ever seen, even in the conspiracy community, debunking them, because they're going out and acting like they're going out and trying to say really, really crazy extreme things, and that they know aren't true, that everybody else knows isn't true, because what they want to do is put it in the minds of the few donators and few supporters they have left that that's what I'm doing, and that's what Menace is doing, and that's why they're doing it as a response, right? The problem is, we're not just asking questions. We've never said we were just asking questions. We've said the criticisms that we have are criticisms anybody would agree with, and anybody would apply to anyone in the situations like the fundraisers, the current fundraiser, or the other fundraiser. So it's not going to work for him. I'm sorry to say. What they're going to do now that they're mentioning me, remember, they wouldn't even mention me. Maybe like the last few days they have been. And the reason they didn't do that is because they know how damning the evidence is. So every time they do that, I'm going to just do another stream where I show the evidence, show the proof that's there. And that will leave them, just directing attention to the situation, and people finally will get to see the evidence, which is that Sean was evicted literally due to taking his $8,000 from his $10,000 GoFundMe and running off with it and keeping it and stealing the money from the donators, lying to the donators so that he could get that extreme amount of money, and then running off with it. The landlord evicted him. The landlord has it reported to the court that Sean did not pay him, and that is why, of course, he had to be evicted. And also that Sean didn't even show up, so it was a default. And so he didn't go to the court hearing and present a receipt or try to argue to the judge, or even call in and say, Judge, I can't come there because I'm in another state. I had to do a fundraiser to get here, but I paid that landlord. He literally left town after the fundraiser, and this court case proves it. And they know that they've been out on the internet trying to tell everybody that what UNIRock and everybody's going to do is, if Steve wins his court case and gets back non sequitur, they're all going to say that they don't have to listen to the judge and they don't have to listen to the court. That is exactly what they are saying now, that Sean and Reds have this judgment against them that proves they didn't pay the landlord. You see what I'm saying? So
yep, makes sense.
So what can they do, Navy? What can they do when they're so triggered that they can't keep quiet anymore? They're going to go out and try to act like Menace and Uni are just asking questions and trolling us by saying we stole the money or whatever it is. Thankfully, I just shared Road User's video, and there is a image of the court case in Road User's video that I just shared on my community tab on rockAlot and on Twitter. And anybody that wants to watch Road User's video can see. In fact, I think I'm going to pull that motherfucker up and we're going to take a look at it.
Do it.
Let's go ahead and play it. I'll go ahead and stream it so that you could see it if you want to see, and we will play it for the good people at home. The proof that Red's Rhetoric and Sean Hufford stole all of that money is exacerbated even more when you realize that right before the information was given to the community, Sean was on Twitter upset and flipping out, making excuses for why there was a $20 discrepancy in his current fundraiser. So he gets really loud and makes sure that he explains anytime a discrepancy is shown, even at $20. What do you think he did when there was $7,500 of discrepancy? Take a look. Road User will show you. And I don't think he has music in his video. I'll add the music. Oh my God, it's so funny seeing the bullshit that he's tweeting.
So you paid $7,450 hard cash check to walk away.
Yes.
Which is why. Do you have anything to substantiate that?
Well, since we had to bring everything down in 2 van trips, most of my stuff actually got left in Elkhart, along with the table that had all of our leasing and paperwork involved in that. That's still there as far as, well, that was there. It's empty now. But yeah, there's nothing there.
Do you have anything to substantiate that?
The bank account has been closed because it had a 0 balance for like 3 months straight, so they closed the account automatically.
Well, you'll be waiting forever, Road User, like the rest of us are.
You recognize that not being able to provide that does raise into question the actual payment, and that is an avenue that you could be attacked from.
Yes, I do, but all I can say to that is an eviction will show up on a credit report, and my credit report is only showing a $92 medical bill, which I have no knowledge of.
Interesting how that works.
Look at that face. Interesting.
Interesting how that works.
Jaronism and Red's Rhetoric are not equals. Red's is a bigger lolcow than even Jaren could ever be, because on my screen is the hard evidence that not only is... Oh, before I do this, Navy, thanks, bro. I'm going to go offline. I'm going to get some sleep. Thanks for hanging. Appreciate it, man.
Okay. Anytime, Bo.
You going to be around later on the weekend for some streams to hang with us, man?
Yeah, I'll definitely be around.
All right, dude. All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, good night.
Later. Okay, so on my screen is the absolute proof. You can find this in my other videos too, that Sean Hufford, Sean also admitted this is him. It's the absolute proof that they all are attacking me, attacking the other people they're attacking, lying, and misdirecting away from this fact, this thing that Sean, with his own mouth, just said, if I stole the money and I didn't pay the landlord, I'll have an eviction on my record. When he said that, he had an eviction for that property. Sean has admitted it's him. He knew he couldn't because there's a second person on here. There's a second person on this eviction. And it was the woman that Sean has already on stream named as the person that lived with him there. Not only is Sean and Reds stolen fundraiser money for this fundraiser, there is zero chance, is my opinion. I don't know how anyone else is dumb enough to think that there is any chance that they have not taken money from other fundraisers. It's extremely possible that they're not being honest about how much they took in their current fundraiser because they've put out evidence how many times, yet still have not proven how much they've taken in, when clicking a button on GoFundMe would have done it for the entire fundraiser. All of this, every bit of it, is hard absolute proof that those people that are refusing to call out Reds and Sean or attack me over this issue are just worse than flat earthers. Flat earthers have a belief. These guys try to hide what they do to their own audience so that they can keep doing it to their audience. And here we are all this time later, and we're sitting here, and these guys think that by talking shit on me or Dr. Misha or someone else, they think it makes them look good, or they think it provides some kind of defense, or that it explains anything. Well, this is more proof than we even have for the shape of the earth that Sean and Reds not only took this money, they lied about it for an entire year. The same people that are attacking me are their friends that have lied about this for a year. And those friends also have taken money from their fundraisers into the same account. Gee, I wonder how the silver flaps on the side of the head. I wonder how he got his money when he has done fundraisers with them. Well, the only explanation, in my opinion, is that he's also has an account. His is connected to this account that they used here. And this shows you why people will do what these guys are doing. They'll do it because if it comes out to every donator that knows the truth about this fundraiser from a year ago, any donator to any of their fundraisers could immediately demand their money back and be rightful in doing it. They have one of the best excuses to demand their money back. And these guys are angry and nervous and scared about those donators going to the authorities, which donators have done. So each YouTuber out there that's willing to lie and distract for these guys, in my opinion, every fundraiser they've done needs to be investigated too, because you don't lie for someone doing a fundraiser like this for nothing. Why do you do that for nothing? You throw away your entire YouTube career, you throw away everything that you've done on the platform, all the people you've met, and you have this stigma of defending people that stole that much money from their own community and trolled people in the name of that. And for what? Just because you're a friend? Well, hell no. So in the end, all that can happen now is, and that's why I'm going to be talking to Katz this weekend, his schedule permitting, or very soon directly after, to go to his channel and show people what's there, because he's one of the bigger creators in their community. And finally, the donators who gave money to any of their fundraisers will have the truth in front of their own eyes, and they can make the accurate decision on how they approach the situation. Are they going to go to authorities and help? Are they all going to file a class action lawsuit? Are they going to demand that they have justice in this? Well, that's up to each of them. All I can tell you is that each donator knowing the truth is just another person to motivate authorities to handle this quickly and to not let this happen again. Because factually speaking, they can't respond on this. They know it incriminates them to respond to what the information that's out there now is guaranteeing them an investigation by authorities into that fundraiser from a year ago. That is a guarantee. Reds and Sean are going to be investigated for that fundraiser a year ago. And at this point, they would want to stop their donators from going to authorities by showing them whatever excuse they have and proving it to those people so that It doesn't happen. And when they haven't responded for all this time, it is because they know that even responding will allow more donators to know the truth. They'll go watch my video. They'll look at both sides. These guys have been saying on the internet all this time, a video you sent me? Well, see if you can, what is it? Tell me what it's about real quick. And because I'm going to talk to the chat in a minute. So type out for me what it's about and everything. If they did, if instead of sitting on Twitter, and if the Silverfish would instead of lying about what happened back when I criticized him, he actually would talk about the relevant information that's out there now. The fact that he's defending two people that stole $10,000 from his community after recording 200,000 hours of himself talking about how Kyle Curtis needs to be held accountable from his opinion stealing from a community. In fact, Kyle Curtis didn't steal from his community by taking super chats and donations. He may have stolen from Steve McRae if he did have this contract to pay him and then didn't pay him. He may have stolen from Silverfish, but he definitely didn't steal from his community, okay? We can factually show that Reds and Sean have done this, okay? The only excuse, like Menace said, is if they come out and say that that landlord violated the company, the landlord company violated the law and is lying to people and has sued Sean even though he made the payment. But they would have stated it if that was the case. I can't just sit and attribute the one in a billion excuse to being what happened when dealing with pathological liars. The pathological liars would jump up in the one chance they've got to tell the truth in the entirety of them being on YouTube. They're going to choose not to do it, even though it would stop their own donators from getting the authorities to look into this quicker than they are now. You know, the fact is that they aren't going to say that, because then when they go to court over this, they're going to be facing whatever it is, libeling or slandering or whatever. They're going to also have to deal with the fact that they went around convincing thousands of people that this company is breaking the law by doing A, B, and C, and they don't want to deal with the legal trouble of that, and that's why they haven't stood up and claimed that yet, because they know that's not true. We know that's not true. Navy knows? Okay, I'll talk to him about it. Last thing I'm doing real quick before I go is taking a look at this article. Def Noodles is testing the limits of YouTube satire. So Def is a comedian struggling to make it in LA, experimenting on YouTube, and since March, when lockdown forced him to focus on the internet, 25-year-old's online persona taken off as a drama channel. A drama channel parody, or both, depending on whom you ask. Not up for debate is the fact that he functions as an agent of chaos. Def Noodles' character blows hot air, pointing out hypocrisy, ridiculousness, and dangerous behavior among the YouTube set. In turn, a subset of the online commentarian responds with cold air, arguing that it is Def Noodles who is the hypocrite. The result is a tornado of discourse. Noodles is a test to see if satire, irony, and paradox can work on the internet, and the results are mixed. He doesn't make it easy. When people criticize him, it's because they believe he's hiding behind his character. They'll point out that he says he doesn't care about the ongoings that he covers, and yet he spends 16 hours a day following every movement of fringe celebrities. Or they'll point out how he'll sometimes note that stories are serious, even though he says the point is it's all irrelevant. But to him, that's the character. If you find him annoying, then to him, you're finding what he is satiring annoying, which makes it a success. And not unlike the Colbert, they think Colbert is one of the biggest influences. Oh, one of his biggest influences. I was going to say, do not call Colbert an influencer. He's not. He's a fake-ass celebrity. The amount of blah, 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 blah. So, Def Noodles discusses the acute challenges of creating satire on the context-stripping internet for an audience that sometimes lacks comedy literacy. You can read excerpts from the interview or listen to the podcast below. If you look into the intro of episodes, I purposely chose an intro that was similar to Drama Alert. Keemstar is a guy I watched a lot for a while, and I pull a lot from him. I pull from Perez Hilton. The delivery itself was kind of an accident. I did a Gilbert Godfrey impression in a video, and people loved it. They started saying Gilbert was my uncle or whatever. What? Oh, I see his uncle. I'll see his incorporate blah blah blah. I want to see what they're talking about Def Noodles for. Is the only reason I'm reading this. So, I didn't go to journalism school. I'm aware of the differentiation between hard and soft journalism. It's all soft journalism. It's a lot of the time it's just presented with such seriousness. Blah blah blah. I've been seeing all this stuff happening as my page grows. It's what I've been learning is context is lost on social media. What are you talking about, Def Noodles? You don't give context. Tim Dillon was being interviewed by Logan Paul. Logan asked him, what do you think about everybody having a podcast? He said, there's a big problem with that. You don't want everybody having a podcast. What's going to happen is you level the playing field for all opinion. Everybody should have the right to an opinion, but what if somebody has tens of millions of followers, but they have the worst opinions, ones that are going to disenfranchise people, and they become completely viable as a result of who brings it up? That's one of the dangers I see with this whole situation. I'm trying to bring awareness to the situation on the macro level. You got to be careful with what you say. Are you joking? Did fucking Def Noodles say that? I gotta highlight that. There's no way he said that. I feel like social media doesn't educate the people that are building an audience on their platform about the dangers of misleading their audience. Are you joking, Def Noodles? Are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? Bro. 200,000, I don't think they realize the amount of influence they have. If each one of those people gets the idea they're pushing out past on people, it grows exponentially. Context gets lost. And where I'm connecting with people from all over the world, I don't know if they're arriving at my content, whether they're just arriving because they want to hear the latest tea or because they want to hear about a certain person. At one point, I was really trying. Wait, what jokes does Def Noodles tell? I don't even see him as a comedian. I decided there's no way around it. I started writing like I wrote. I have a disclaimer on my channel explaining the thoughts behind it so people can hopefully understand it. But I was talking to my friend who's a stand-up, and he said it's like you're paying a price for understanding comedy whenever you get harsh criticism. I guess that's what it is. Well, it depends on if you're wrong or not, Def Noodles. It depends on what your response is. Anyway, I might do a video on this whole Def Noodles thing because I've criticized Def Noodles a couple times. He definitely deserves some criticism. He's really quick to block people, regardless of if they're trolling him or not. By the way, I completely understand people blocking people that are spamming and trolling them, but just to block someone for criticizing is a little different. Anyway, let's see what you guys are saying so we can get out of here. Hey, Aussie Trisha. Oh, yeah, if you go to the beginning, it's more just of a chill stream tonight. Making sure my green screen's functioning properly, making sure my sound is okay, recording so I can check things later and listen to everything, make sure it looks good. I'm going to be getting out of here. Yeah, Scales of Metal, I agree. I don't think Def Noodles can, yeah. Because I thought he'd respond without being so mad to me, because I was really specific to make sure that I didn't like put him down or anything, and I just kind of stated the issues I had with what he said, right? But no, he just straight blocked me. I didn't tag him. I didn't tweet at him. He literally like saw that I had that video on my channel and found me on Twitter and blocked me. So I found that to be pretty extreme. Okay, so at the end of the situation, to give you a quick sum up, the Reds Rhetoric, Hufflepeg are dead quiet. After the evidence came out that completely damns them to have stolen and misappropriated the money from a year ago, they can't even give a response. None of their friends can give a response. And their friends have gotten so angry at the fact that they are all universally hated and looked at as the scammers they are for defending Sean and Reds. They now are responding slightly, but instead of actually bringing, speaking to the evidence that's there and giving their opinion on it or whatever they want to say for or against it, they're ignoring the evidence and trying to claim that me and Menace are just asking questions and saying extreme things to ask questions. And they've tried to, in the most boomeriest, cringy way possible, reverse that on us and all jump in on this little meme that they're using as their next harassment campaign to claim that I wasn't in the military. By the way, I showed pictures in this stream and on my channel to prove I was in the military, but Or to claim that Menace is a minor and I'm selling him drugs and that I'm doing all this other crazy stuff, and they're streaming about this for an hour and a half here and 2 hours there, vet bashing me by the definition of vet bashing, and sitting on Twitter basically stating things like that I'm cheating on my girlfriend with Menace and Kyle and other things, because after they say these things, then they go, well, we're just asking questions. We're just asking questions. And the point is, we're not just asking questions. What we're doing is showing people where you're defending two people who stole $10,000 from their community by their own definition, by their own words, by their own criticism, by Reds and Sean's own definition of flat earthers running fundraisers. They have stolen that money, scammed that money, misappropriated that money. These are all things that Reds and Sean have stated in the past towards flatties. And therefore, if you can make those criticisms towards flatties, why can't you then make it towards yourself if you do something worse than the flatties, provably with court papers to back it up? So what can you do to help the situation? You can share the truth. You can share my stream, Grand Larpsony, find a good timestamp that shows people the actual, get it up there to where the documents are about to be shown. Share Road Users video. Share anything you can that will show the donators that gave money to these guys through any of their fundraisers that they have lied, that they lie to defend each other so that they can continue running fundraisers, and they lie about their criticizers. Ironically, people who call themselves the most astronomically honest people on the internet for years have been exposed with no other chance, with no other thing of literally, I'm going to get my membership back. I can't do it sooner. I ran out of funds. You're fine. You don't even have to join. Yeah, you're good. I just like seeing you. Ain't no thing. But remember, when you do rememberize, if you choose to, and you don't have to, the gaming and looser live streams are rockAlot if you want to be a member for that stuff. And then the more written live streams and content is on UNIRock too. So that's the only difference. This is more of a gaming channel, so that, if you do decide to rememberize, you know what I'm saying? You can do it in the place where you're going to spend the most time. You know what I'm saying? That way you don't waste your memorization. You get me? So, hey, and when you leave comments after you've joined, you get that badge next to your name. And I do try to look for the members anytime I'm in the comments section. And that is rarely on rockAlot because I'm usually logged into my other channel. So I'm just letting you know. You share the information. Make sure, who cares if once you've seen the hard proof that these guys lie, you can never, ever again not only trust or believe or even really give a shit about anything they ever say again. Once they have that hard proof that they didn't misspeak, it wasn't an accident, that they're willingly withholding this evidence, once you've got that hard proof and you've seen it, that these guys are lying to try and cover this issue from their donators realizing the truth and reporting them for it, to protect themselves, to keep themselves on the internet, to keep themselves making money, lying to do so, you know that you need to get the information. Who cares what happens to them? Get the information to the donators so that, one, they never donate another dime to anybody that would lie to them to steal $10,000 like this, or defend somebody who would do it, or vet bash somebody, or run around trolling. If you want to troll, you could at least share the information and then go around trolling instead of hiding it from people. Though it's so cringy. I hope they just keep going, because it's been the best lol cow material out there in a long time. And Wings of Redemption has been making a bid with his new wife to get my attention when it comes to lol cowery. And compared to these guys, Wings ain't got shit on them in the last while. For fuck's sake, I know people were mad at Wings because he did a fundraiser and didn't get surgery, but then he eventually got the surgery and spent the money on it. So I know that he fucked it up and he deserves to be a lolcow, but these guys deserve to also be right next to Wings where they are for anyone that pays attention to them. All right, guys, thanks for watching. This has been 3/10 of 2021, a test stream to try to get my green screen looking good, get my sound all done. I really appreciate any of you that are hanging out. You know it, D-Nice. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Wolf, appreciate it. April, Cherie, everybody else, Ozzy, Trisha, R-Top. I miss you guys. I'm glad to get to stream with you for a little bit. Keep an eye out. I'm going to upload the Jeremy DeWitt video. It's caused some issues getting it done, but the Jeremy DeWitt video about his Dr. Phil performance is going to be up tomorrow on UNIRock 2. I'm going to be getting some video game content up here. We've got some Tarkov runs with Menace that are badass. And when you guys see this shit, you're going to be like, damn, that looked good. They got a new filing in the Toddy Westbrook lawsuit that I'm going to upload on. I believe it's Friday or Saturday or Monday or something. So we're going to try that. Spurgy, you didn't have to do that. Thank you, Spurgy. I love you. And thank you. God, we've all been around doing this for so long. We've all been chilling together for so long. We've gone down this fucking crazy road where we just constantly get up here. We speak about all the craziness going on around us. We criticize it. We give our thoughts on it. Thank you, Spurg. And follow these crazy stories. And to see them evolve into these guys showing the ultimate hypocrisy, not being willing after spending 2 years screaming about Kyle stealing money from his community, to see them not give a shit when Reds and Sean do it and try to hide it for them is some of the cringiest, most insane developments I've ever seen come out of a story. At least when it comes to YouTube, it definitely is. Okay? To see how much investment, how much time they put in to trying to convince people that he stole that money from his community. It was 30,000, then it's 60, then it's 90, then it's 120, then it's 150, then it's $1 billion. And then just to see them look at a situation where there's more evidence, there's more truth, that's more honest to say Reds and Sean did than even ever say that Kyle did, because those were super chats that Kyle got. We're talking about a fundraiser, and they won't even they're so scared to talk about what they did and talk about the evidence that they're shaking in their boots just trying to boomer meme as much as they can. It's all they can do. It is the fucking cringe icing on the top of the cringe cake. And I'll keep you updated on UNIRocktv on Twitter for quick rambly Twitter live videos if you want to follow me there and watch the streams. And if you don't, I'll see you over here on RockAlot, because it's just getting crazy, guys. It's getting fucking nuts. What is Fight the Flat Earth going to do? You know he wants to talk about Nerthan Thompson stealing fundraiser money, because Nerthan Thompson just stole fundraiser money himself. What's the dude's name? McToon. MC Toon came out and called out Nerthan Thompson. And all these other guys are going to want to call, they're going to want to call out Nerthan Thompson and make that super chat money yelling at Nerthan Thompson. How does Fight do that when he shares his channel with Reds who stole this fundraiser money? Do you really think Fight is going to flip out on Nerthan Thompson but refuse to talk about Reds doing it? Who knows? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Tech General. Ooh, we might have some developments. Well, I gotta go. See you soon. Now let's get a good... let's do an old school song. Let's go out on an old school song. See you soon. baby. It's heating up.